Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming around. Nice to see you. If you can hear some zzing in the background, it's the neighbours. They're having construction done, so I apologise. Anywho, what about this Meghan Markle thing? So listen, I put up a post on May 4th about Meghan's new book called On the Bench or something. What I wrote was, is there nothing this shameless self-promoter won't do? Seems not. I see, my prediction, lackluster sales. Well, and my pal, Piers Morgan, wrote an article in the Daily Mail, and I'm going to attempt to read it to you because you know what my dyslexia is like, but I just love this. Okay, so Piers Morgan, the title is, How the Hell Can Meghan, I Hate Royalty But Call Me Duchess Markle, preach about father-child relationships when she's disowned her dad and wrecked her husband's future relationship with his? And he goes on to say, what would the current shortlist for the title of world's most ludicrously inappropriate book be? Donald Trump's Guide to Diplomacy? I don't think so. The Art of Protecting One's Privacy by the Kardashian sisters? Why Marriage is for Keeps by Bill and Melinda Gates? These would all be good contenders were it not for the announcement of this afternoon that Meghan Markle has written a book, well, written, inverted commas, called The Bench. What a wonderful title. About a very, very, very special bond between father and child. Sorry, what? Notwithstanding Ms. Markle's seemingly unlimited thirst for committing attention-seeking acts of gargantuan hypocrisy, this seemed beyond parody. I agree. But it was real. I laughed out loud, says Piers, when the news broke via ecstatic publishers, and even louder when I read the accompanying gush-laden statements. Ms. Markle proudly informed us that the debut literary tome captures the warmth, the joy, the comfort of the relationship between fathers and sons from all walks of life. She added, says Piers, this representation was particularly important to me, and I worked very closely to depict the special bond through an inclusive lens. My hope is the bench resonates with every family, no matter the makeup, not as much as she wears, as much as it does with mine. It's getting better. I wonder how much these touching sentiments will resonate with her own family or her husband's. Lest we forget, Ms. Markle has ruthlessly disowned her own father, Thomas, and refuses to have anything to do with him, despite the fact that they now live just 70 miles away from each other. She is also reported to have disowned every other Markle, none of whom were invited to her wedding. In fact, it seems a singularly exclusive lens. I agree, Piers. She also spray-gunned Thomas in her lie-packed Oprah wine-a-thon in a manner that was more ice, rage, irritation than warmth, joy, and comfort. As for Harry, he trashed his father, Prince Charles, in the same interview, moaning about how Daddy had stopped taking his calls or giving him cash, sounding like some needy, spoilt brat teenager rather than a 36-year-old multimillionaire doormat who ditched his family, his country, his duty because his chillingly controlling, ambitious wife wanted him to. And unforgivably, he did this as Charles was desperately worried about his father, Prince Philip, who was lying seriously ill in hospital and, as we know, later died. How does any of that sit with Meghan's misty-eyed tribute to the warmth, joy, and comfort of a relationship between father and sons? Very, very uneasily, I would suggest, says Piers. The pair of them also branded Harry's royal family a bunch of heartless racists, though no evidence has yet emerged to support any of their outrageously hurtful and damaging claims. And they repeatedly attack the institution of the monarchy and everything it stands for. Yet when it comes to flogging a book, what the author name does Meghan Markle use? Of course, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Yes, she continues to cynically exploit the royal titles because she knows that the only reason anyone is paying her vast amount of money to spew her uniquely occasional brand of pious hectoring gibberish in Netflix documentaries, Spotify podcasts, or children's books. Of course, equally cynical publishers don't give a damn about any of this shocking double standard. Meghan's touching text explores the relationship between fathers and sons and undeniably tugs at the heartstrings that parents and caregivers feel, said Mallory Lower, publisher of the Random House books of Young Readers Group. She cooed that the illustrator's art beautifully matches the tender emotions of Meghan's words, and every spread is infused with a vibrant sense of joy and love. The bench is timeless. It feels destined to become one of those books that people will be reading for generations to come. I don't want to wish to rain on the comically sycophantic parade, but I suspect this book will become an instant historical classic for all the reasons, says Piers. The whole notion of Meghan Markle dishing out advice to anyone about relationships between fathers and sons and children is absolutely ridiculous, given the appalling relationship she and her husband have with their own fathers. Yet her brazen decision to do it anyway is so sadly typical of a woman whose tendency for staggering hypocrisy is only matched by her extraordinary tone deafness. Thank God she doesn't sing. I honestly rather hear parenting tips from Britney Spears' god-awful father, because at least they still talk to each other through lawyers. In the press release, Ms. Markle is described as a mother, wife, feminist, activist, who currently resides in the home state of California with a family, 2 dogs, and a flock of rescue chickens. What it didn't clarify is that she resides with a lot more animals than family members. In fact, only 3 members of her family seem to have any relationship with her now. They are Harry, Archie, and her mother. The rest have been discarded along the way with the ex-husband and almost every old friend and colleague. What Meghan Markle wants, Meghan Markle gets, was Harry's famous refrain in the build-up to that wedding. And so far, she's got exactly what she wanted: the handsome British prince, the California mansion, the millionaire celebrity lifestyle, which she's always craved, and since Oprah's unquestioning softball PR stunt, the coveted and ferociously contested status of America's #1 oppressed victim. A poor innocent waif, cruelly mistreated by the bestiality racist British royals until she managed to grab her confiscated passport and escape back home. The fact none of this ugly incendiary narrative is true is irrelevant to the people who matter to her, the Hollywood woke brigade, for whom her personal version of the truth is far more important than the actual truth. What Miss Markle really needs now is some good old-fashioned home truth. Here it is, the truth. That is not her truth, that usually turns out to be that of Princess Pinocchio variety, and the truth that is that she's a cynical, disingenuous manipulator intent on wrecking the royal family's image around the world with her shameless, shameful, money-grabbing, victim-playing antics and dragging her hapless husband along for the ride. This new book about father and children relationships is another example of Meghan Markle's never-ending penchant for preaching what she never practices. If she really cared about the father-child relationship, she'd take a chauffeur-driven limousine on the hour-long trip to see her own father, who's never met either Harry or Archie. And if she really cared about father-children relationships, she would have never trashed Harry's family on television, global television, in a horrible way that she did, causing yet more damage, possibly irreparably, and to Harry's relationships with his father. But then, as we've seen from her gruesomely self-interested behavior during a pandemic that's caused so much devastation and pain to billions around the world, Meghan Markle doesn't care about anyone but herself. Well, I just have to say, my comment is, that's all. True that. Cheers, Piers. Thanks. Till I see you again. Here it comes.